Hi there. Thanks for joining me for a meditation hour session. Today I want to talk about one of the things which I took away from Vipassana retreat, so to speak. So last year I went to a 10-day meditation retreat, and during that retreat I was meditating for anywhere from 8 to 11 hours, and one of the lessons I learned from there was that everything is temporary. And that's a good thing. That's the best part of life, because imagine if anything was permanent, then life would become boring and life would become meaningless. If you haven't experienced pain, then you won't understand the meaning of pleasure. If you haven't experienced sadness, then you won't understand the meaning of happiness. Different experiences kind of highlights various, I would say, various moments of life. So the best part of life is that everything is temporary. And when I started looking at my life from that perspective, I realized that I have options to tap into so many different experiences whenever I'm having a hard time, which I do plenty of times in a typical day too. So forget about hard phase of my life. So whenever I have hard time, I just repeat this: everything is temporary. It's not a delusional fact to kind of come out of that sadness per se, but it's just to remind you that that moment, that stressful moment, sadful moment, or whatever you're experiencing right now is temporary. And likewise, when I'm ecstatic, happy, not all the time, but sometime I remind myself that this moment is temporary too. So that make it more special, make it more memorable, because then I have to capture that moment, and so that I can revisit it in my imagination whenever I want to. And understanding that everything is temporary also liberate me, because when I know that the things I'm going through right now is temporary, I let go of those things instead of hanging on to it. So if someone did something to me, or if I felt that someone is being unfair to me, and other way around too, if I'm being unfair to someone else, it's actually two different contexts, but if someone is unfair to me, I sit with that feeling for a few seconds to few minutes and just remind myself that this is temporary, and let go of that feeling. And if I do some unfair thing to someone else, then I sit down and I introspect and make sure that I learn from that. And in that moment, I try to recall that moment, or that unfairness which I caused to someone else, whenever I probably is going to go through the same situation and kind of do the same unfair thing. Or I think I'm thinking about a specific example, but I don't want to say it. That's why I'm kind of generalizing it, and generalizing it sometimes it's hard to relate to. So I completely understand. But my outlook of life is to look at the things where I can improve on, and let go of things where where someone might have come across as unfair to me. And learning this lesson of letting go of everything is very, very liberating, because now I'm not associating myself with not only what someone else did, but also what I did, say, a decade back. Because a decade back, I was a whole different person. And I know probably a decade from today, I will be a whole different person, and hopefully a much better person than I am. But a decade back, whatever I did, I still at times remember that, and I make sure that I don't repeat those mistakes. And when I remember those, I remember it from a detached moment, because I'm not the same person. I did those things in the past, but I'm not the same person. It's not me in this present moment who has done whatever atrocity my past self had done. And I forgive my past self too, because that's very important too, because without forgiving yourself, there is no path forward. Forgiveness doesn't mean that I completely forget about whatever I did in the past, or neither am I saying that it's okay to repeat my mistakes. Forgiving just means that I understand that whatever I did in that moment, it was a combination of my life experiences up until that point, and combination of the situation I was in at that time, and combination of the patterns I was repeating at that time. So there are a lot of variables, a lot of things which led me to do things which I did in the past. And forgiving that is acknowledging that I have grown out of it, and letting go of it means that I have learned from it, and I'm looking forward. I'm gonna pause for a few minutes until this EV pass. But knowing that everything is temporary is also empowering, because now when I do something, I know that this is temporary. So when I pursue my passions, I know that this could go away at any time. Just yesterday when I was doing Aikido, one of the senpai, one of the partner on the mat, he had a stroke few months back or a year back. And just looking at him, I realized that this could happen to me at any time too, because I'm gonna still wait till that emergency vehicle is gone. When I saw that person, what he's going through, I understood that it could happen to me as well. It could happen to any one of us. And in that moment, I realized how not only how grateful I am for my current life, but at the same time, I realized that the amount of time I have is temporary itself. So I should value every moment I have, or consciously whenever I can, because it's impossible to kind of consciously live every single second. At least I'm not there yet. I know there are rumors that there are people who can live for consciously every moment of their life. I'm not there yet. But the temporariness kind of shift things into different perspective. Now when I look at the passion, I look at some of the things I'm passionate about, I want to give my 100% when I'm on there. When I interact with people, I want to give my 100% attention to them. And I want to create a network of people who lift me, as well as I can help them wherever and whenever I can. And these all lessons have been, I've been pondering over a long time, but yesterday, just by looking at it, it kind of reminded me that what I should be grateful for and what I should be looking forward for. And I believe meditation, at least in my life, is one of the main fuel to kind of remind myself what I should be doing, where I should be focusing my attention. And I hope that if you pick up this practice of any meditation technique, then that serves you in a similar way, and hopefully make your life better. One of the things I was proud of today, not in an egoistic way, even though I can be egoistic at times, and one of the things I was proud of was in the office, I am doing intermittent fasting, so I don't eat until late afternoon. And when I'm working on projects and interacting with people and clients, I could feel the hunger within me, and it's not the good kind of hunger, not the hunger to do something and pursue something, but the hunger of food. And in that moment, I was feeling angry, I was feeling irritated, I was frustrated. There was a combination of different things, but I was able to calm myself. I was able to take a step back and empathize with the customer and the issue we were having at the time. That gave me a new perspective to look at the problem and help the customer in a way. And also, when I noticed that that hunger is creating this other emotions within me, that also made me realize that I have to be more cautious and don't act proactively. To be honest, there were a moment when I was like screaming from inside, and I know every one of us has those moments that you want everyone around you to be quiet because there is too much noise, and you need to just want everyone to be quiet. And I was screaming from inside, but within those moments, I was able to just calm myself, just focus on what's important, and empathize with things going on around me. And that kind of clarity, I believe, is one of the feature, for lack of a better word, I want to develop within myself, to remain calm in different situations. Even though there's gonna be proactiveness within my body, I have the power to calm myself. I have the power to empathize with the situation and the people, depending on the circumstances, of course. Some people okay, never mind. But depending on the situation, I can empathize with people around me, and hopefully that makes me a better person. But regardless of what others think, I want to be a better person for myself. I want to be a better person because I don't want to proactively say something or do something, and at the end of the day just feel frustrated, angry at myself, at why I did what I did, and that again add up to the negative thought patterns, and manifest into something else, and come out in the actions which I don't want to. So I believe meditating continuously, or not continuously, but disciplinedly for past few months has empowered me to handle different situations in a more calmful and peaceful way. And one of the other benefits or side effects I've seen of meditation is that I'm not I'm letting go of things, and I'm not holding on to some of the things which I felt other people did to me, like unfair thing, or if someone said something which I felt bad about, I'm not holding on to that. I'm not latching on to that. And that's liberating. That letting go of that feeling is very, very liberating, because I understand everyone is coming from a different experiences. And when people say things, if they try to make fun of you, if they try to kick you down, if they try to just be rude or whatever, they are coming from their own experiences, and they are reacting based on their own circumstances. And I don't need that in my life. I don't want that in my life. I don't want to hold on to that experience or energy, so to speak. I can just let go of that that experience and moment, and I felt more liberated whenever I do that. And this is also helping me, at least in my own head. It's helping me because when a few weeks back, or a few days back rather, when someone said something about my performance, I wasn't holding on to it. I was letting go of it, because if I go out again and perform with the same mindset, then first of all, I'm seeking approval from someone random who said something, and who is not even there. So it's affecting my performance. When I say performance, I mean stand-up comedy. It affecting my performance in that moment. So I'm holding on to someone else's words, someone else's intention, and it's affecting my life overall. So it's not even serving me. And at the same time, there are things which people say or do which you should hang on to if it's valuable to your life. Like the books which I read, some of the books which I read, the verses within those books, some of the podcasts I listen to, and the talking points or the conversation which has real meaningful and real insightful words or sentences, I hang on to that because that is adding value to my life. So in general, I feel that depending on what you feed, you're gonna change your life. And I've said this in the past, and I cannot reiterate enough that you are what you feed, not just based on what you eat, but also based on what you intake in the form of information, and based on what you tell yourself in the form of stories, or whatever you tell yourself. So you are what you feed. So be careful whenever you feed anything. When you feed food, just be careful if you're feeding food which is adding value to your life and overall health, because some of the greasy and sweet food is amazing in the moment. It's temporary, and afterwards that add up, that makes your life, makes your body unhealthy. So it's not serving when you look at the bigger goal, when you look at the bigger picture. Likewise, some of the information could be really, really spicy, could be very enticing and captivating, such as gossips. But if you hang on to that, in the long term, it's gonna create uneasiness. So at least in my life, in my experience. And likewise, the story we tell ourselves, the story I'm telling myself, if I continue to tell myself a story where I'm kicking myself down, then I'm losing my self confidence, and more importantly, I'm losing my self-respect. So I have to be real. I am real to myself as much as I can. When I make a mistake, I admit to myself that I made a mistake. I should try to live better than that. And when I unnecessarily just when I'm unnecessarily harsh on myself, I try to be compassionate with myself, which is very unusual for me, and try to understand that whatever I acted or reacted was in the moment and I should do better. So yeah, everything is temporary. Even our conversation is temporary. I don't know how many of you are still watching this. Probably some of you have like just skipped through and went to the next story, probably what seemed like more interesting or entertaining. I don't think that what I'm saying is not interesting. It is at least for me, and that's why I'm super delighted to say whatever I'm saying. But it may not be entertaining, not at the moment. If you want entertainment, come and talk to me, especially when I'm not at work. Let's just say that. Anyhow, with that note, I'm gonna get started. Oh, it's already past 7. Damn it. I gotta be at open mic by 8:30, so if I start now, I won't be there by 8:30. Anyways, so for the next hour, I'm gonna be meditating using Vipassana technique, which is to focus on my breath and body sensations. And throughout the meditation session, I'm gonna say out loud some of the times when my mind gonna wander off, which happens plenty of times. And the reason why I'm doing that is to catch myself whenever my mind goes off the grid, and bring it back to focusing on breath and body sensations. And once I start the practice, for the first few minutes, I will describe what attributes I'm looking for when I'm meditating. So I'm gonna go through the properties and nature of the breath, and then I'm gonna do a quick body scan, and then I will just go silent and just say out loud whenever my mind wander off. And just to be aware, it could be entertaining for you if you catch me taking a nap or sleeping, because I've seen some of my past videos where I'm like just drifting on both direction, and I'm actually literally taking a nap. But I still count that as meditation, because even within that moment, whenever I sort of like come back in the moment, I come back with a fresh energy, sort of like a shock, I guess, to revive myself, to kind of just come back to this reality. And if you catch me taking a nap, just enjoy it, just make fun. I don't know, I don't care. Hey Google, set an alarm for an hour from now.
There, your alarm's set for 8:20 p.m.
I observe that my breath is shallow. Observe the flow of my breath. From the moment the air touches my nostril, pass through it into my lungs, and from my lungs through my nostrils back into the room, the space. Observe the temperature of my inhale and exhale breath. Now I will do quick body scan, and I will highlight some of the sensations I'm observing throughout my body. I'm gonna start from top of my head to tip of my toe, and from tip of my toe to top of my head, and I'm gonna go through each and every body part, but I'm just gonna do from top of my toe to top of my head to tip of my toe. Yeah, it's like a tongue twister. I observe the air touching my hair and my head. I observe the tension on my hair because of the knot. I observe a warm feeling a warm sensation on my forehead, even though the air is relatively cold. It feels like my body is emitting heat from my forehead. I observe that the air is touching my forehead and my eyelids and my nose and my chin and cheeks and my neck I observe that the air is passing through the fabric of my shirt and touching my chest and my back. I observe that the fabric of my shirt is touching my belly. Now I will focus on my left hand. I observe there is a sort of this weight on my left shoulder. I observe the cold air touching my biceps. I observe that my elbow is touching my left knee. I observe that my mind wandered off. I observe that my left hand thumb is touching my left forefinger. Now I'm gonna focus on my right hand. I observe that the fabric of my shirt is touching my right hand. I observe that my right elbow is touching my right knee. I observe that my right thumb is touching my right forefinger. I'm gonna focus on my left leg. I observe that my left hand is in contact with my left knee, and my left knee is in contact with my right, well, my left leg is in contact with my right leg at various points. And I'm focusing on each of those connecting places. I'm going to focus on my right leg. My right knee is in contact with my right hand. My right leg is touching my left leg at different point of contact. Now for the remainder of this session, I will silently meditate, and I might say out loud whenever my mind wanders off and I'm bringing back to focus on the sensations. I observed that my mind wandered off. 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 I observed that, took a nap for a quick second, and then realized that then my body automatically reacted to it. I observed that my mind wandered off. Hey Google, stop. Thanks for joining me for this meditation hour session. And until next time, stay peaceful.